Good morning, my boys. How are you? I miss you so much. Today, my boys, we're going to talk about the story of Sacagawea, lesson 20, page 588. Let's start the story with the genre. As you see here, the genre is biography. Here, what's the meaning of biography? It's a story that tells about somebody's life or a famous person's life. But does he write it by himself? No. It's written by another person. That's for the genre. Now, guys, let's go to page 589. As you see here, Sacagawea. What do you think? Do you think that Sacagawea is the baby or the woman? Yeah, it's the woman. She's Sacagawea with her baby child. Now, we have a question down. How do people from different cultures contribute to American history? Here, how do the people from different cultures, like the Red Indians and so on, help in the history of America? I want you to Google this question, guys, okay, to find different answers, okay? Now, let's start the story. The main character in the story, guys, is Sacagawea, the interpreter, or the most important one in the story. She's from the Shoshone. It's a name of a tribe, and in the same time, it's a language. She lived there when she was young, or when she was born. Then the Hidatsa, another tribe, came and kidnapped her. So she lives now with the Hidatsa. She's married now to Charbonneau. And as we see here, the story talks about the core of discovery that's led by Captain Lewis and Clark. Here, they are going to the Pacific Ocean. So the main characters are Sacagawea, Captain Lewis and Captain Clark, and Charbonneau. What language does she speak? She speaks Shoshone, but she lives now with the Hidatsa, and she's also from the Shoshone village. That's about the characters that we find in the story. What's the purpose of this core of discovery? It's going to discover places in the Pacific Ocean. Before we start, guys, here is the canoe, and here is the keelboat. Now, guys, I want you to start reading page 590 and 591 to find the answers of the two questions, or of these two questions. Why do you think the members of the expedition were greeted with great excitement? And why do you think having an interpreter was important to the core? Again, number one, why do you think the members of the expedition were greeted with great excitement? Why did the people welcome them so much, so warmly? And here, question two, why do you think having an interpreter was important to the core? Was the interpreter important to them? Was he important or no? The first interpreter was Charbonneau. It was his basic work till we find that he was not useful to them. Okay, so guys, let's start reading the pages to find the answers of the two questions. Now, guys, let's listen to the audio to check your answers.
It is the early 1800s. Teenaged Sacagawea is a Shoshone Indian living in the Knife River villages in what is now North Dakota. When she was a child, Hidatsa Indians kidnapped her from her home in the Rocky Mountains. Since then, she has lived with them on the Great Plains, far from her family. Sacagawea has learned many things from the Hidatsa, including how to grow food. She is now married to a French-Canadian fur trapper named Toussaint Charbonneau. Meanwhile, Captains Meriwether Lewis and William Clark have been preparing for the Corps of Discovery. They and their team, which includes a large black Newfoundland dog, are about to start a long journey of exploration all the way to the Pacific Ocean.
So guys, that's an introduction to the story about Sacagawea and how she was taken from Shoshone to the Hidatsa and her husband Charbonneau. Now let's start the story. Of course, you'll start with the setting that it's May 14, 1804. Let's start with here with the setting of the story.
On May 14, 1804, a crew of more than 40 men set off against the Missouri River current in a keelboat and 2 large canoes called pirogues. The Corps of Discovery was underway. The expedition arrived at the Knife River villages at the end of October. They were greeted with great excitement. Sacagawea heard tales of a gigantic black dog that traveled with the explorers. She heard that a fierce and awesome white man with black skin was among the crew. This was York, the slave of Captain Clark. The explorers built a fort and called it Fort Mandan. Then they settled in to spend the winter at the Knife River villages. Lewis and Clark soon learned they would need horses to cross the Rocky Mountains. The people of the villages told them that they could get the horses from the Shoshone when the expedition reached the mountain passes. The wily Charbonneau proposed that they hire him as a guide and interpreter. He did not speak Shoshone, but Sacagawea did. He told her they would be joining the Corps of Discovery in the spring. This was exciting news, but Sacagawea's mind was on other matters. She was soon to become a mother.
So guys, as we see here, that the crew or the group of expedition was more than 40 men. Where did they start their journey or their corps? They set off Missouri or against the Missouri River. Here. How did they go? They started in keelboat and 2 large canoes. Here. What else? And here all people or the villages were so excited to meet them. Why do you think? Let's back again to the question that we studied now. Why do you think the members of the expedition were greeted with great excitement? What do you think, guys, when you find here Corps of Discovery having a gigantic, a huge dog? All people are waiting to see it, are excited to see it. Also, a white man with black skin. Can you find out a white? How is he? A white man with black skin. So it's confusing. It's something new for them. They didn't see people like this before. So they were excited to meet those people, especially they are from faraway places. So why do you think the members of the expedition were greeted with great excitement? Because they were excited to see the gigantic dog and the white man with black skin. So guys, they settled in a place. In the winter, where did they stay? In the Knife River villages. Knife River villages, and they stayed there all the winter. When they sit here, they are planning for what's next. So they're waiting to find horses to complete their journey. The second question is, why do you think having an interpreter was important to the core? Is it important to have this interpreter? What do you think? Of course, they're going to lands that speak Shoshone language or speak different languages that they have no idea about it. So they need somebody to help them communicate with the people or the villagers. Another surprise here we have that Sacagawea is going to give birth, or the main assistant or the most important one that would help them during their expedition is going to give birth soon. Now, guys, winter is over, and now they want to complete their journey. It's now February, after they stayed at the end of October. Now, I want you to start reading page 592 to find the answer or to give us the details about the main idea. What's the main idea that we have here? That Sacagawea was important to the core of discovery. How or why? Means you give us the details that support this. Was Sacagawea important or no? Let's read. I want you to start reading now to find the answer of the question. You have 2 minutes. Now, guys, after you've finished reading, let's listen to the audio to check your answers.
In February, the time came for Sacagawea to have her baby. It was a long, difficult birth. Captain Lewis wanted to help her. He gave a crew member 2 rattlesnake rattles to crush and mix with water. Just a few minutes after drinking the mixture, Sacagawea gave birth to a baby boy. He was named Jean-Baptiste Charbonneau, but Captain Clark called him Pompey. Before long, the boy was known to everyone as Pomp. On April 7, 1805, the Corps of Discovery started west, struggling upstream on the mighty, muddy Missouri in 2 pirogues and 6 smaller canoes. Pomp was not yet 2 months old. As Sacagawea walked along the riverbank, she carried Pomp on her back in a cradleboard or wrapped up snug in her shawl. Every member of the Corps of Discovery was hired for a special skill: hunter, blacksmith, woodsman, sailor. As an interpreter, Charbonneau was paid much more than the other crew members, but his skills as a sailor, guide, and outdoorsman were very poor. The only thing he did well was cook buffalo sausage. Sacagawea did what she could to help the expedition, even though she was paid nothing. As she walked along the shore with Captain Clark, Sacagawea looked for plants to keep the crew healthy. She gathered berries or dug for wild artichoke roots with her digging stick. Her Shoshone childhood had prepared her well for this journey. The Corps had been traveling less than 2 months when near disaster struck. Charbonneau was steering a boat through choppy waters when a sudden high wind tipped it sideways. He lost his wits and dropped the rudder while the boat filled with water. The expedition's valuables were spilling overboard. Charbonneau was ordered to right the boat or be shot.
Now, guys, what do you think the rattlesnake rattles that she gave them? Is it here medicine? What do you think? What do you think, guys? It's a kind of medicine, my boys, or herbs. the herbs. That's why he mixed it together with water. Okay? Now, what about the jobs that they have? They have hunters, sailors, blacksmith, the man who works with steel and iron, and the woodsman. Those are the jobs that the core work together to get here to do their job. Let's back again, guys, to the question that Sacagawea was important to the core of discovery. That's the main idea. Can you give me some details about this? Yes. She knows the landmarks and the famous places in the area. Excellent. What else? What else, guys? She knows Shoshone language. Excellent. And she gives them the plans to keep them healthy. Excellent. She cares about them a lot without having any money. Right? Those are the details that support this idea. Here, at the end of page 592, we had that, or he told us that they had a strong wind came and get the water inside their boats. So it's a big problem. Tomorrow, we'd find out how could they solve this problem. Okay, my boys. Thank you. See you tomorrow. Good luck, my boys. Bye.